join us to the Big Harbor costume party. See, everyone in the whole harbor dresses up, and we have a big party. I'm going as a pirate. Ha ha! I wonder what everyone else is wearing. Oh, it's my friend Rodney. I'm a Sheila lover! Ha ha! Oh, gee, Rodney isn't wearing a costume. Well, maybe he forgot about the party. Maybe Rodney doesn't have a costume. Well, Rodney looks upset. Or maybe, did I ever tell you about the time that Chester, the container ship, came to visit the Big Harbor? It was quite a story. The tugboats were tooting their whistles with excitement as they gathered round the great ocean dock for the morning work meeting. Nice flags, Theodore, said Hank. Oh, I like yours too, smiled Theodore. Today was Flag Day in the Big Harbor. The day when everyone got to fly all their signal flags. It was kind of like dressing up in your favorite costume. Ooh, look at Emily's flags, said Theodore. Suddenly, there was a loud vrooming and booming sound. It was George, rumbling his big engine and tooting his whistle just to make sure everyone was looking at him. Wow, said Hank. George, of course, had the biggest and brightest flags of all. There was even one planted right in his lifeboat. Well, no one was really too surprised. Happy Flag Day, said the dispatcher, turning to begin the work meeting. There is a new container ship arriving soon. George, you will be the tug in charge. Please take Theodore and proceed immediately. And with that, the two tugs set off at once. Flags, 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 blared Benjamin Bridge, as far as I can see. It did seem that everywhere George and Theodore could see, everyone was flying flags. Look at Bruno's, said Theodore, as the stately sailing ship glided past. Even Guysborough has flags. It was true. The world's grumpiest garbage barge was flying rusty, grumpy-looking flags. Or maybe it was just some old laundry. Have you seen my flags? George boomed in his biggest voice, just so everyone in every part of the harbor could hear. The thing George liked most about Flag Day was, well, George. The tugs arrived out at the entrance to the harbor, where the giant container ship they were supposed to meet was already heading toward them. Theodore tooted his whistle. Welcome to the Big Harbor, he called. I'm Theodore. Well, my name is Chester, replied the ship. Well, where are your flags? Said George. Flags? Repeated Chester. Well, everyone is flying flags today, explained George. It's Flag Day. Have you seen my flags? Chester looked around at all the flags in the tugboats. Well, we don't have Flag Day in our harbor. No Flag Day? Mumbled George, as if he had never heard of anything so incredible in all his life. Well, he said at last, we better get you into your dock. Come on, Theodore. As the tugs brought Chester into the Big Harbor, George vroomed and boomed and tooted his whistle, just to make sure everyone was looking at him and his flags. And everyone whistled and honked and hollered hello back, and of course showed off their flags too. This is the friendliest harbor in the whole world, George told Chester. Chester was thinking that it was certainly the flaggiest harbor in the whole world. Hey, what happened to your flags? It was Hank sailing past. He doesn't have Flag Day, George shouted back. No Flag Day? Blared Benjamin Bridge in a surprised voice. Hey, everyone! The big ship doesn't have Flag Day. Chester looked around. Everyone was staring at him. It seemed like he was the only one who didn't have flags. I kind of made him feel like a frog in a big tank full of fish. Like he didn't belong. Does everyone here have flags? Chester asked Theodore in a very quiet voice. They had reached Clayton, the giant harbor crane's dock, where Chester would have his containers unloaded. Oh, no, said Theodore. No, not everyone. No flags? Chester looked around for the owner of the voice. A container was talking to him. Even he had a tiny little flag. Well, I guess everyone does have flags, said Theodore, kind of sheepishly. Everyone except me, said Chester so softly you could hardly hear him. Theodore could tell Chester was upset. But before he could think of anything to say, George rumbled over. Come on, Theodore, let's show our flags to Nautilus. It was kind of hard to talk to Chester with George brooming and booming his big engine like that. Theodore decided he would talk to Chester later. Clayton, the giant harbor crane, rumbled forward on his track to unload Chester's containers. No flags, said Clayton. Well, that did it. No, replied Chester. No, I don't have any flags. I never have flags, and I'm the only one in this entire harbor who has no flags. Even a container has a flag. But not me, okay? Well, I bet that makes you feel special, said Clayton, who always liked to look on the bright side. Not really, said Chester quietly. After Clayton had unloaded Chester's containers, George and Theodore began to move the big ship to his dock. Once more, George broomed and boomed and tooted his whistle, just to make sure everyone was looking at him and his flags. Friendliest harbor in the whole world, he hollered at Chester again. It doesn't seem that friendly to me, Chester was thinking. Where is my dock? He asked nervously. Oh, you'll love it, grinned George. It's right in the middle of the harbor. You'll be able to see all the flags from there. That's what I was afraid of, said Chester. Afraid of? Asked George. Will you do me a big favor, Theodore? He said. Oh, sure, smiled Theodore. Will you move me to a different dock? One that's quieter? Theodore looked puzzled. This place, it just doesn't feel right, explained Chester. The only other one I know is way out at Dock 23, said Theodore. It's far from everything. That sounds good, said Chester. Well, this is almost out of the harbor, George said as they reached the old docks with Chester. See, he couldn't understand why the big ship wanted to be docked way out there. You can't even see any flags, he added. It's perfect, said Chester. George, said Theodore, floating up close to the bigger tug. I really think we should see if Chester... Come on, Theodore, interrupted George. More work to do, plenty of time to have fun with Chester later. Theodore really wanted to talk to Chester this time, but George was the tug in charge. We'll bring you into the harbor again to have your containers loaded back on later, George called to Chester, already heading off. All right, Chester, said Theodore as he followed. Into the harbor again, Chester said as the tug set off. More flags, he groaned. George was busy vrooming and booming and tooting as he cruised through the harbor with his flags. But Theodore had something else on his mind. George, do you think Chester likes it here? Sure, everyone does, said George. This is the friendliest harbor in the whole world. How is Chester, anyhow? Clayton was calling from his dock. Oh, what do you mean? Said Theodore, who was very interested in what Clayton had to say. Well, he did seem a teeny bit touchy about Flag Day, answered Cliff. I don't know if anyone else noticed, but he doesn't have any flags. Well, that was all Theodore needed to hear. He had waited long enough to talk to Chester. George, he said, we have to go back to Chester right now. Theodore led George back to the old dock where they'd left Chester. But when they arrived, he was gone. What's going on, Theodore? George wanted to know. Theodore looked around. There he is, he shouted. Chester was heading back out to the ocean. Well, why is he leaving? Said George. Once again, Theodore knew there was no time to explain. Right now, they had to stop Chester. The tugs caught up with Chester, all out of breath. I'd really like it if you stayed, puffed Theodore. I don't want to, replied Chester quietly. Because you don't have any flags? Theodore asked. Well, Chester didn't say anything for a moment. Everyone looks like they're having a really good time, he began slowly. And I'm the only one without any flags. Oh, said George when he heard that. It was like a lighthouse went off in his head. I was so excited about Flag Day, I didn't even notice you were upset. Well, I was, said Chester quietly. And then George had an idea. A great big George idea. I'd like to give you some of my flags, Chester, he announced. Well, Theodore thought that was a very good idea. And I'd like to give you some of my flags, too, he told Chester. Everyone should have flags, smiled George. Well, right away, Chester felt better. George and Theodore began to take Chester back into the big harbor. Everyone whistled and honked and hollered hello to everyone else, and, of course, showed off their flags. And Chester did too. Wow, this really is the friendliest harbor in the whole world, said Chester with a big smile in his voice. Like I always say, smiled George. Chester sure felt better after the tugs gave him that flag to fly. And I've got something to make Rodney feel better. Hello, Rodney. How would you like to go to the costume party as a harbor master? Yes, a harbor master. Rodney, I want to lend you my uniform to wear. Yeah. Okay, I'll be right down. You really sounded happy. That's great. Thanks for visiting us here in the big harbor. We'll see you all again next time. Or I'll make you walk the plank. No, I think I would have made a pretty good pirate, wouldn't you? Oh, hey. Except I wonder how pirates kept their hats on.
There's another story coming right up.